Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, further to my investigations or examinations or rants, depending on how you want to view the subject and the way I've gone about it, looking at the EDUARD problem. We did discuss this in the Let's Talk About EDUARD. And I'll say again, I've got huge respect for this company, and they do some wonderful aftermarket items and some very nice kits. However, the problem that we've been discussing, is that they have this issue with their recent decal since 2020, where and I've learned a bit more about this. It's quite interesting to hear about the backstories. That apparently they didn't actually intend for this top film to necessarily be removed. They were just trying to get a better contour between the decal itself and the surface of the model, and then having the top film on the top. So basically their concept is they reversed the design of the decal. Well, I don't know what R&D they did. I'm not going to sit here and rant and rave, but they just haven't developed this properly. Everybody says, obviously, if you removed the top film, you end up with a very thin painted on look decal, which I can see the merit of. I can see the merit of it, but they've done about this in such a poor way, and I've talked about it quite recently. You'll have seen me with my Sea Harrier, my spares from the Sea Harrier kit from Kinetic, having to play with it. And I have to, if we're frank about it, the results of me sort of doing a bit of testing on that were pretty disastrous. However, it's been pointed out by a friend of mine that maybe the surface that I had was a bit too matte. Maybe we needed some more top coat on it. It did have a quick lick of top coat, but it was quite maybe just on the matte side of satin. So I've now gone back again, and this is the final time, I can promise you. But I thought you might find it interesting to show that I have thoroughly tested it. Now, we haven't thoroughly tested it yet, so let me zoom you in. So this, you'll recall, is the Sea Harrier, which was painted extra dark sea grey. You can see now it's got a bit more of a sheen on it than it had before. And I thought for clarity and to give us an interesting sort of a test sample, almost a placebo if you will, I thought we've got some unpainted wings here. So what I've done is I've top coated that as well to give it something to bite onto. Giving it a top coat, both of them. Oh, so everything has been top coated here with the X20. Is it X20? I'm sorry, my brain's just gone now. It's the Mr. Colour top clear coat. So everything has been correctly clear coated, so there's a good surface to bite on. It's much smoother on the dark sea grey. And I thought we'd have one final attempt at this and just see how it goes, just genuinely out of interest, because I think people will find it interesting. Now, I've always said before, I don't do technique videos, I don't do modelling build videos because I find them a bit boring, but this will only take a minute or two, so I thought we'd have a look at this and see how we get on. So I've just moved my Seawolf, or my little Seawolf missiles, which are all over the place here, out of the way. Chewing gum and all sorts. Let's just move that aside for a second, and we will do a proper test. Now I will genuinely give it my best attempt to see if we can remove this and what it looks like at the end. It's going to be very interesting, and it'd be interesting to note the difference between the smoother surface and the slightly satin surface. Although everybody seems to say that claim it works well, says the satin surface is the best surface. So we'll see. I've got to say to you, I'm going to zoom in now, I've got to say to you though, look closely at these, because again you can see evidence of the poor quality of the printing of these decals. I'm not sure, last time it didn't come up so well on the camera, but there's this blotchiness to them. There is a real strange thing. This one was cut in half, and can you see how it's flaked away? The top film has flaked away, which is pretty poor. When it was that was cut when it was dry before it was used, of course. And I've used to make sure this goes down properly, you know, as I said last time, I am trying to be 100% objective here. I'm not setting this up to deliberately fail. If it worked, I don't think it's my cup of tea, but I can see on some models, certain types of scenarios, it work better than others, if it works. So it's interesting to see. I haven't got an agenda here against EDUARD, far from it, you know, I just don't understand why they did this. I think if they'd have developed it properly and got it working better, then I would have been a bit more sympathetic. And if they told people as well, A, that they'd done it, and B, how to do it, how to use it. Anyway, putting that all aside, I've done everything possible I can now. So it's had a proper clear coat to give it, you know, the proper surface for it to go down on. This time I've used Tamiya Mark Fit Strong, which is a bit like Micro Set, or it's a strong setting solution, a bit like the Mr. Colour Neo Setter. It's quite strong stuff. And then I've also used afterwards, once that's all sorted, I've actually used Micro Sol to help it contour and soften the decal. Excuse me. Soften it to get it into the, you can see that if I show you now, and without further ado we'll have a crack in a second, to get it to contour into the panel lines and the recessed rivets and things, which you can just about make out there, I think, in the camera, hopefully. And again here he says, there we go, you can see it, can't you? So these are still the decals from the EDUARD Tora, because I'm definitely not, I don't care what the outcome is here, I definitely won't be using them on my model when I build that, which is very soon, when I build that Zero A6M. Not going to be risking the kit by, you know, all my hard work being ruined at the end. So this is why I decided to do more and a variety of different shapes as well, which is quite important as a test. So without further ado, why don't I zoom you in? This has been done for 24 hours now. We'll have a go at it and see how we get on. Now I'm going to try both methods this time. I'm going to try partially removing it with tape, and I'm going to perhaps just use the tape, perhaps a little bit less tack to it by just putting it on my sleeve a little bit or something to try to reduce the grip. So because yesterday the problem was it wasn't consistent, was it? It both removed, which indicates maybe there wasn't a great key to the surface, maybe it was a bit too matte, but it doesn't explain why it then shattered and sheared in places as well. If it just all came up, then you'd say, well, it's not got a good bond, you know, it's not got a good bite to the surface. But the fact that it sort of split, that's on a fairly evenly painted surface, I was fairly happy with the evenness of it. Doesn't make sense. You know, let's have a look, see where we get on. So bear with me, I'm going to do my best, and if this doesn't work and it's crap again, that is my verdict at the end, okay? We'll see though, let's keep an open mind, you never know, we might have more success. I think the problem you're going to face, you know, you'll watch this and you'll think, well, why do I need all this aggravation? And that's the whole problem really, isn't it? So you see, I've done a variety of different decals. We've got little numbers here, we've got the rising sun stroke meatballs, we've got a big white stripe, and then over here we've got another half a rising sun. You can see that's bonded pretty well. So let's start over here. So this is on the smooth unpainted wing, but it has got the GX100 on it. So it's got the top coat on it, so it's not truly unpainted. You can see there it's got that sheen to it from the top coat. Let's see how we get on a little bit here. See if it'll cleanly remove this top coat or not. Do it very gently this time. See what we get. Okay, well, no, it's done the same thing. And again, you can see the lack of integration. Look at the way it's actually split. Not only in the middle, but look at the way it's sort of delaminated at the end of the decal. That's not too good, is it? So, okay, you could argue it's not a painted surface, but again, it's had all the treatment. It's had the Mark Fit Strong. It's a surface that has got a, you know, it's got a top coat. It's got a primer there for it to bite into. And it just doesn't see. No, it just doesn't want to do it. Just doesn't want to. So it looks to me as though that's very disappointing. I'm surprised at that actually. I thought that would bonded better. So we've also got an issue there with the actual quality of the adhesive. I think we'll put that on one side. So I'm presuming we'll get the same effect on the other. So what we'll do, we'll switch over now. Just bear with me a second while I'll just put that on my sleeve, just to take a little bit of the bite off the adhesive again. Now let's try it. Now this time there can be absolutely no excuses, or there is no escape. If this fails the same way, then we're done really, because this is now a painted surface. It was primed and it was painted and it's been top coated with GX100 as well. It's got that sheen to it. So let's see what happens. Let's just see. We've now taken a bit of the edge off the adhesive. So let's see if we can just tease off. It's trying to, it is actually trying to lift a little bit here. Can you see that? Let's try again. Jeez, I give up. I give up. Look at it. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's not use the adhesive because that's just lifting it off. Now, as I say, this surface, there is no escape or excuse here. It's a primed and painted and top coated surface. So why should it be doing that? So let's abandon the tape method. Let us get out my extra fine tweezers from Tamiya, I think it is. Oh no, the Display, beg pardon. Display tweezers. Let's have a go with this. Let's try and peel off the top coating. I'll try and do this, get it in camera shot for you. Now then. Come on. My question is simply to the people who are these evangelists that have been complaining and claiming that I'm not in a position to make an opinion on this because I haven't tried it. How many times do you give something the opportunity when you try again? Repeatedly trying to successfully remove it before you realise that you're really wasting your time. It might just come this time, it might just come. No, it's lifting the whole thing. Well, it's had a day to bond. There's no reason why it should be lifting. It was top coated. The next day it was a decal, and this day today I'm trying to remove it, and it's not going well, is it? Let's be honest. Who needs this? Can you imagine doing this on every single stencil, for example? Oh, come on. Patience is just evaporating. Let's try on this stencil over here. Let's try this. You can see we've got quite a bit of film around that, so we've got perhaps a bit more of a chance to get it to come. A little bit of it's come away, but it comes away in shards and it's just a mess. You're scratching away at its surface. Why? Why do they think this is a cool idea? Oh, come on. It was just starting like it might succeed, but it's just... I don't think the decals have got very good adhesion, to be honest. People moan about Tamiyas because they're thick, which they have got better, but they are quite thick, relatively speaking. But at least they bond, they stick on the model. I mean, the other alternative, of course, what many people have done, some others have said to me, well, I don't have a problem with it, Peter, but I don't try and remove the film. And I'm not convinced that EDUARD ever, from what I've read about what they have said about it, I'm not sure they ever intended you to remove the film. Just take the film off this, mate. Realise it? No, we haven't. We've taken that one off. This one seems to have keyed better. Let's try this with the tape because I can't see I'm going to be able to lift it. Let's just try it with the tape again. No one will look me in the eye and say I haven't had a good go at this, because that's the whole point of this exercise, to be honest. No, it's lifting the whole bloody thing off again. This is just absurd, I'm sorry. Let's try it over on the other side. Let's try this one that's not been touched. And you can see there, I might be able to get that up. But it's so inconsistent, and the actual carrier film seems to be, it varies in its size relative to the actual decal. No, it's not going to come. It's not parting company. They're terrible. I think the quality is appalling. Somebody has told me that last week, actually, somebody said they'd got a new one. I can't remember which kit it was. It was it an ME110? They thought the decals were better. I mean, you just don't need this. You know, you're just trying to put decals on the product. It shouldn't be this great big nightmare where you're going to end up. This is exactly what happened to Phil Flory. I saw him doing it on his video build. It ripped off half of the. He was very gentle, but of course, Mr. Flory actually went back to Edward and said, "What have you changed?" And they said, "We've changed nothing," which was stupid because clearly they have. And then they had to go back and admit it. Sometimes they didn't know. Sometimes they didn't tell their own people, never mind the customer. Come on, just get it to lift. Come on, don't. Oh. Right, let's try over here again. Let's try it with the tip. I think it's just going to lift off there. Let's just dampen it down on my arm here. See, now you know I wear a jacket like this. I do not normally have this on when I'm modelling, by the way, just to be clear. I know some of you think I wear it all day long, I don't. It's purely... Oh, come on. I give up. This is just absurd. It's not lift. I know, it's starting to lift the film there. Can you see that? It's just starting to lift it. Oh, it splits. They seem to have such a poor quality. I give up. That's just not doing anything. I wonder if I can get it on this one, because this one seems quite well bonded. I mean, we're almost at the end now. I'm sorry, but we all know what the outcome of this is going to be in terms of the verdict. Can we just get that to lift? Come on. It's pointless, isn't it? Now, I've done everything correctly, according to what all the experts are telling me here. That this time it's painted. I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll have one more go. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not merchantable quality. The problem here is simply this, that they are marketing their products, and I've always had this wonderful array of schemes. They can have anything from 5 to 8 different schemes for the aircraft, which is brilliant, and most others are not giving you all that. But it has no value because you can't use them. They're no good. It's as simple as that. They're crap. So there's no point in getting excited and say, oh yeah, we get 8 schemes. You don't get anything you can use. You've got to have to go out to aftermarket. I mean, I could, with the Zero, obviously, I could just get paint masks. And I might do that. I might just spray the meatballs. I think that would look quite good. There's your answer. But you get an aircraft with lots and lots of stencils. You can't do that, can you? Can you imagine doing this on every step? This is just absurd. It hasn't been thought through properly. One last go now. This is my patience and temper are just fraying here. Let's have a little go at this one. You never know. Get a bit closer for you. There we go. Let's see if we can just get this in. Come on, come on. Just give us something, please. Doesn't want to separate. It's not gonna. No. Ah. How about this one? Like last chance, very, very last now. And then my patience is absolutely evaporated. I'm going to have one more go at that meatball there because I've taken all the rest off pretty much. Let's just try and gently see if I can get it to lift. That one seems to have bonded a little. You might just have a slightly better adhesive on it. That one doesn't look so bad. I think with it's like the other gentleman I mentioned that said, oh, I just spray over him and he puts a satin varnish to make the top film disappear. That really is the only way you can do it. This one's, oh, hang on, it might be lifting. I think it might have a chance here. It might just be working. No! It's lifted a bit, but it's just the inconsistency of it. Look at that. We haven't got it lifting. I mean, perhaps that's too sharp, but I tried with the blunt one. That seemed just as bad, really. Let's try with the blunter one. Here we go, here we go. Actually had some success, but come on. How many hours are you going to spend doing this when you've got a much decals and stencil plates? We've got 1 out of 7 or 8 that I've just tried. We've actually had success with just 1 of them, but look at the damage it's done. And that, I'm afraid, is a fail. Because every time I see these videos and people say, oh, you can use it, look, and they end up with chips and bits missing and they say, oh, I'll make it look like weathering. Yes, but that should be your choice. It shouldn't be that the quality is so crap. I mean, what does the world come to when we're going to accept that? It's just absolutely laughable. So basically, one decal. It's a joke. I'm sorry. Those of you that don't agree, I don't care. We're all free to do what we want in this life, you know. If you want to use those, that's absolutely fine, but you've been warned there. That is really the final test. I'm not going to spend another minute wasted on them. EDUARD, you need to sort your decals out. You need to do it right now. Should have done it ages ago, to be honest. You've known about the problem for 2 years now. You didn't tell people, which is absolutely unforgivable and really bizarre beyond belief. What were they thinking of? So my advice is simply this. People, you know, you do what you want to do. Everybody's free to do what they want to do. Give it a go. You're not going to have any fun with this. It's just a complete pain in the backside. It's not user-friendly. It's just going to eat time. And you'll end up with a compromise model at the end of it. I've just demonstrated it. I've now had 2 attempts, having processed the model more to make sure it's got the right surface, and it just lifted straight off or it tore. And we got one where it just about almost did what it's supposed to do, but even then it split and it ripped. Now those are the decals from the end of 2020. Okay, they're a couple of years old. It was like 21, wasn't it? I think that kit came out. So they're about 2 years old. They're not usable. So I won't be touching those. I won't be touching them at all. I'm going to get some nice aftermarket decals. I'll shop around, and that's what I'd recommend to anybody. If you're a newcomer, if you're a youngster, or if you're somebody that's sort of coming back to the hobby, just avoid using EDUARD's decals. If it's before 2020, you'll be fine. I've got the Focke-Wulf 190 A4, I think it is, and that's a 2014, 2015 kit, I think. Was it 2017? But anyway, it's well before this problem started, and that'll be absolutely great. I'm going to enjoy building that one. But I'm tired, really, of hearing people say, you can do it, you haven't, have you ever tried? Well, I've tried twice now, and I've used 2 different systems. I've now done it on a satin surface, a gloss surface, an unpainted surface that's top-coated, a top-coated painted surface that was primed, just about every combination you can have, and those are the results you're just seeing there. They're completely a disaster. And I rest my case. I'm not going to spend another minute talking about it after this video finishes. Anybody that challenges me, I'm just going to say, you do what you want, your funeral. Your funeral. Because these are a very, very poor product. They haven't been developed properly. They're treating customers like they're the R&D department of EDUARD. They should not have brought those to market because they are not working in the way they've said. And I give up. I've now wasted, I don't know, maybe 3 hours in total, not only shooting the videos, but also doing all the spraying and the prep and everything. In the hope that we might, I mean, we almost got there, but it's just, you know, would you really want, when you've done a beautiful model, to then be doing that, you know, and you've got stencils all over it? My God, you're going to make such a mess of your model, and it just isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. So personally, I shall tell EDUARD this if I see them at Telford. I won't have any problem in doing that at all. I think that we have got to vote with our feet, really, and those people that agree and have seen that, there's plenty of other example of videos you can see people having exactly the same issue. Phil Flory did, and there's many others that have actually said, oh yes, you can do it. And even the ones that are saying they can do it, they've got this problem where there's bits flaking off and it's chipping in. It's just a disaster. It's like, let's reinvent the wheel with something that's worse than the wheel, yeah? And the other YouTuber who said, oh, God forbid that they invent something, you know, that moves the hobby forward. That hasn't moved the hobby forward, that's moved it backwards. Yeah, I don't know why you can't see it. Yeah, take your blinkers off. If it worked, yes, then I would see some merit in it. I think it'd be, yeah, okay, to be encouraged. But they've just gone to market with something that's not ready. They can't even get the printing quality right. The printing quality is dire. There's been lots of examples. What was the kit? I'm trying to think that they released, and there was really blotchy lines in the decals where they've been digitally printed, really poor quality. So I'm sorry, at the end of the day, EDUARD, you've made a big mistake. Just put it right and we'll soon forget You know, everybody can be happy again. It's all good. Carry on producing them. I, for one, am not going to buy any EDUARD kits because that just makes them look really expensive. All these schemes that are supposed to be on them have no value at all. They might as well not be there. It's pointless, and then you've got to start hunting around for extra aftermarket decals or masks. Sorry, but it's very disappointing that a major manufacturer cannot. The mistakes they made are one thing, but that they are refusing to see sense, to do the right thing. It's just going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them a lot. And I'm not sympathetic to that sort of mindset. We all make mistakes. It's how you fix the mistakes, and they're not fixing it. That's the whole point. They're not putting it right. They're just ploughing on and hoping that these sort of fanboys, to use that expression that others like to use so much, are going to carry them through. Well, I'm afraid that if you're a youngster or a returnee to the hobby, or somebody new to the hobby that's perhaps retired and you want to have a go at it, that's going to put you right off. You're going to get to the end, you might have built quite a nice little model, and then you're going to trash it with those decals. Why would anybody, want to do that? That is going to be so detrimental, and it will not help EDUARD. It will not help EDUARD. Recognise when you made a mistake and take action, corrective action to put it right. That's what we need to do. And that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to mention it again. Any hate I get, any abusive comments I get will be deleted. And any authors of such abusive comments will be banned. So I warn you. By all means express your opinion. By all means express your experiences. I don't mind that at all, even if they contradict what I've said. But don't start getting aggressive about it, because I will not tolerate that for 2 seconds. And I've had 1 or 2 like that already that have been deleted. It's fine. I won't get into an argument with somebody who's trolling me. I'll just delete you permanently, and that'll be that. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me or correcting me if I've made a mistake. But the only mistake that's been made here has been by EDUARD, and those of you that are supporting it are basically in denial. Simple as that, I'm afraid. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Hope you'll give me... I haven't got my fancy watch on today, but never mind. Hope you'll give me 10 out of 10. I've got my Apple Watch on, that's why. Hope you'll give me 10 out of 10, because I have tried. I actually hoped that they wouldn't be as bad as... because there are circumstances on certain kits where I think, yeah, if it did work, it would be quite good, and it might give it that extra level of realism. But they've just rushed into a concept without perfecting it, basically, half done. It's a bit like electric vehicles. The world has rushed into that as well without them being ready and without the infrastructure and everything being ready to support them. It's the same sort of thinking. It's a great idea, but it's not properly executed. There's a lot of that around these days, but anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed at least seeing me get frustrated again. Having a bit of a rant, but I'm trying to be fair and I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm trying the product, and the product isn't working. I don't know what else I can do, really. I've tried to use the tape method, I've used the tweezers, I've been very gentle, very careful. I've got all sorts of different levels of grip there in terms of the different surfaces. I've tried it over 2 videos, and none of it has worked successfully. Even the one that was close to working was a fail because it chipped off. And you can't just have a model where half the decals are chipped off and then say, oh well, it's just a bit of battle damage. Oh, okay. But it's being dictated to you by the manufacturer. I mean, look at the way it splits. It just splits. There's no good bond. They haven't got a very good adhesive on the decal at all. So you've got a print issue, you've got an adhesive issue, I think. Tamiya's bond much better than that. If you go to a Tamiya decal that's been on a day, it won't lift like that's done, and it's done it on different surfaces. Garbage. Sorry, that's my verdict. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the little rant. I'm going to call it a rant this time because this is the final verdict that those decals are crap and they need to change. And until they do, myself and many, many others, I'm sure, will avoid buying the EDUARD kit products. And it's a real shame because they've done everything so well in most other areas, and they've spoiled it when they didn't need to. It's crazy. Let's hope they take this on board, and I'll be delighted to report to you if somebody says to me they've changed it or they've changed back, and then basically I could do an update in the future and say, look, it's good news, we're all good again. But at the moment, no, there are problems. So EDUARD, please go and get your act together. In the meantime, thanks very much for joining me. Hope you'll stay well, stay safe. And until next time, thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves. And bye for now.